A very good morning to all of you. Students, today we shall revise lesson number 3 of your book, First Flight. Our lesson is 2 stories about flying. The lesson is in 2 parts. Today we shall revise its first part. The first part is his first flight. What is there in the lesson? That I am going to tell you here. Listen carefully. The story, his first flight, tells us about courage and tireless efforts. What the story tells us? It tells us about the courage. It tells us about the hard work. It tells us about the tireless efforts. The writer records how a young seagull is afraid to fly, how he conquers his fear and learns to fly. This is a story in the first part, that a seagull is afraid of flying, how he tries and wins. In the story, the young seagull was afraid to fly. His 2 brothers and his sister had already learned how to fly, but he could not muster the courage to fly. He feared the long stretch and depth of the sea. His parents scolded him and threatened him to leave him on the ledge. Ledge is a shelf. To leave him on the ledge. The seagull watched his parents teaching his brothers and sisters how to fly and dive for fish. How one has to catch the fish. Parents were giving training to his sisters and brother. 24 hours passed. The seagull was hungry. He came out of the ledge. I have told you already that ledge is a narrow horizontal shelf projecting from a wall or a cliff. He came out of the ledge, closed his eyes and pretended to be asleep. His mother was looking at him. She tore a piece of fish that lay at her feet. Then she scraped each side of her beak on the rock. The young seagull thought that his mother was bringing food for him. The sight of food maddened him. He thought that mother is bringing food for him. He tried to come nearer to her as she flew across, but she screamed at him in hate. She did not allow him to reach the piece of fish. He tried to come nearer her. While doing this, he fell out of the ledge. Now, the mother was trying his level best to encourage his child, to make him learn how to fly, how to dive. At first, he felt afraid. Soon he found himself soaring, curving and shrieking. He was no longer afraid to fly now. His mother had tactfully taught him how to fly. The whole of his family had already lagged ahead of him. He tried to follow them. He was hungry and tired. He felt his feet sink, but he tried in despair and his belly touched the water and he sank no further. He was floating on the water very safely. His efforts brought success. So we learn from the story that efforts, hard work and courage are necessary for any success. Certain questions I have taken from the lesson to enable you to revise the lesson. Question number 1 I have taken. The young seagull was afraid to fly. Why? The question is she was afraid. As I have explained you. Why? The reason we have to give here. The young seagull was afraid of flying because it was his first flight and he feared of falling. As everyone feels fear of falling, in our childhood we also felt that fear. It was his first flight and he feared of falling. He thought, what he thought? He thought his wings were too weak to support him. He could not muster courage to come out of the ledge. Question number 2. Why did the seagull family mock at young one? Why they mocked? The seagull was afraid to fly. His family wanted him to learn how to fly. They wanted this thing. All of them left. They thought he could come after them. But he remained in the hole on the same ledge. His brother and sister were comfortable in their flight after being trained by the parents, but he was terribly scared of the sea. So he became the object of mocking for the family members. Question number 3. Why did seagull family work at the young one? Why they all were working for this? Seagull family worked at the young one to encourage him to fly. The young seagull is tamed. Family members tried their best, tried to tempt him by food. All this was to enable him to fly. They wanted him to teach. They were trying their level best for this. Question number 4. Why was the seagull alone on the ledge? The seagull was alone on the ledge because he feared the long stretch of sea and its depth. He could not muster courage to take flight, so all his family members had flown away pretending to be angry with him. They left him alone there. Question number 5. How did the young seagull and his family celebrate his first flight? When he learned how to fly, how they celebrated this? When the young seagull started flying and got over his fear, his family screamed around him out of joy. All were very happy. They praised him and offered him scraps of dog fish out of delight as he had made a successful attempt to fly. So all these questions, 5 questions that I have taken, that will be of 2 marks, of 3 marks. There can be a 5-mark question also. For example, the mother question, the mother seagull successfully taught her son to fly through a strange exercise. Why does she do so? Why mother tried in this way? What values does she want to instill in her son? You write its answer. She does so, mother does so, because the young seagull was afraid to take his first flight. But his mother was bent upon, she was adamant, she was determined. She was bent upon teaching him how to shed fear and take a bold step. So she came nearer to him with a piece of fish in her beak. In an attempt to catch the piece of fish, the seagull fell out of the ledge. He was trying to get that piece. Mother was not giving that piece to the son. So in an effort to catch that piece, the seagull fell out of the ledge. Now he had no alternate but to make efforts at flying for his survival. Other part is, what values does she want to instill in her son? So you can write the values she wants to instill in her son are courage, firm determination, strong willpower, and you can say the fearlessness, hard work, all these qualities she wanted to see in her son. Students, there can be the abstract bit question. The same can be made in question form, in abstract form. I have taken one sentence, for example, one question I have taken. The sight of the food maddened him. Who is he in these lines? Why was he angry? What does this suggest? Now this question has become of 3 marks. He in these lines is the young seagull. He was angry because he had not taken food since previous night. He felt an intense desire to have food. It suggests his desperation. So this question I have told you that this is of 3 marks. The same can come in the abstract form, then your abstract will be the sight of the food maddened him. Only this is abstract. Think this. 4 questions can be derived from this sentence. Question number 1 can be, who is he in these lines? This can be question 1. Second, why was? This can be question B. Why was he angry? And this can be question 3. What does this suggest? 4th question can be derived. What do you mean by maddened? For this, the options can be given there. 4 options can be given and you have to pick up the right one. Here you can write, right answer we have written. Who is he in these lines? He in these lines is a young seagull. Why was he angry? Because he was hungry. Then, 3rd question, here we have written that he had not taken food from the previous night. Then the 3rd, what does this suggest? It suggests his desperation. I have just told you that he was trying his level best to catch the food from his mother's mouth, but was not able. So that's why he felt desperation. Like this, you have to prepare a whole lesson, go through the lesson, do all the question answers. That is all for today. Thank you. Have a nice day.